Thank you for joining us again for this episode of the QAD Customer Podcast. Very excited to have you as a part of this group, and I am also excited to share part 2 of our interview with Fred Keller, the founder of Cascade Engineering. It is a really, really remarkable story and perspective that Fred has when thinking about how best to perform in business and how to pull good people together, take care of those people, and equip them for performance in their business. So without further ado, let's hop into the interview. First part of our conversation today is going to focus around investing in businesses. Fred Keller, that is, really takes an interesting perspective when it comes to how to think about the profitability of business. And this is definitely something that we had touched on in our first part of our series with Fred Keller, but we're going to dive a little bit deeper, and also he's going to mention a couple great resources if you want to learn more about how to consider investing in business and the impact of business on society. It's really, really a great opportunity for you as a listener to learn more about how to think about business, how to take care of people, and how they will take care of the business, and how that is the right thing to do as an entrepreneur.
Well, I mean, the notion that basically the Milton Friedman notion that maximizing profit for the shareholders is the only purpose for business became mixed with the notion of Ayn Rand, which is basically it's okay to be selfish. In fact, the Randian thinking is that if we just take care of ourselves, everybody else will be just fine. It's the selfishness that drives the society, where in fact it's collaboration, it's helpfulness that really makes a society work and function the best. And so the idea that we measure our businesses in one dimension, which is profitability, and we get all excited about the success of those folks when we talk about profitability, is very short-sighted and is very much a kind of use it up and burn it up kind of approach.
Yeah.
Whereas if we had another measurement, which we don't have at this point in time, in terms of impact on society, we call it nice. And people think, well, I'll either be nice or I'll make money, and it's looked at as an either-or proposition. The fact is that people can be really caring for people, can support their people, can get higher rates of engagement, actually better profitability, better things happen. There's an organization, Barry Waymiller, that is run by Bob Chapman, he's about a $3 billion company now, mostly heavy-duty manufacturing operations. He's grown over the years, and he's written a book called Everybody Matters. It's all about how you take care of your people. And I have some truck with Bob. I've been at one of his things that he pulls together. He has some people come together, and I was invited, and I was happy to be there. But it's a little bit of a cult.
Yeah.
So I choose not to participate. But nevertheless, his thought is that basically you take care of people and they'll take care of the business. And I think that's that there's some truth in that. But that's not why you do it. It's not why you're taking care of people. You're taking care of people because it's the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't read the book Principles by Ray Dalio, you must stop listening to this podcast, download that audiobook, and listen to it immediately. It's unbelievable, really, really great tool to learn from. However, one of the things that I recognized as I was interviewing Fred was he really abides and guides his entire mentality around clear principles and ways of thinking. He has these tenets, these ethos in his life that really guide how he does business, how he cares for his family, how he cares for people, and thinks about the trajectory and the goals of his people. So what I wanted to drill down on in this next section was how maybe he thinks about developing principles and what those principles actually are.
Well, I think generally it's really as simple as saying the right thing to do. When you think about how you treat people, it doesn't mean that you never have to fire somebody. It doesn't mean that you never have to have a layoff, because businesses go through economic cycles. But it does mean that when you do that, those actions, that you do them in a way that treats them with dignity. And it creates an environment for them to be able to do things that are go on to another life somewhere else.
Now, how important is that advice nowadays, especially with the global pandemic happening amongst us, to consider how we act in times of strain, in times of being pushed to the edge, and in times of not really knowing how to appropriately handle ourselves in emotional situations. I think this is really an important idea for you to consider as a business person, as a professional, in how you appropriately interact and care for the people that are under your tutelage in business and in your professional life. Very, very important for you not to be blind to the ramifications of your actions in someone's psyche, in someone's trajectory, and in your relationship with them. It's really an important concept.
The running a business and being considered of people doesn't have to be on opposite ends of the spectrum. You can do it. You can do it simultaneously. It's just a matter of trying to make that happen.
Yeah.
And you just have to be consistent when those questions come up. When there's every organization goes through cycles, as I say, and when you do, you have some really, really hard decisions to make from a financial standpoint, and you can't ignore that. You're out of business. On the other hand, how you treat the interaction you have with the people that are making it work for you, with you, are the ones that you have to always respect and always treat with great dignity.
Now, when I first think about this concept, I often think about someone who may be a little bit soft, if you will. Out there, I said it. Somebody that is really people focused. You may think, well, they're being a little soft. They're not holding themselves to the financial pressure and metrics that are important in running a business. But the cool thing about Fred's thinking, and even his comment here in this last section, was he's not discrediting the need for financial rigor. But he is saying that it's not mutually exclusive, that for these two objectives to run in parallel, both financial rigor, stability, and discipline, and care for people. Those two things running in parallel to one another is what really makes a great business. And he makes a good point in saying that there's no real good metric right now in corporate America to understand if we are actually running businesses in a people and financial focused manner. So I really encourage you to think about that and would love to hear your thoughts. Thanks again for tuning in today, everyone. To keep up with our series, make sure you go and subscribe to the QAD Customer Podcast. For those of you kind enough to also leave a review of our podcast, I will be sending out a series of $25 Amazon gift cards So make sure you head over to whatever platform you consume podcasts and leave a review. Thank you all. Until next time.